Oh my goodness. Thank you. That was a very interesting time. Hi, Yasin. Hello, Frosty. Thank you for your kindness. Hi, Oliver. Hi, Penny. Hi, Wade. Hi, Gareth. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for bearing with me, although my bear has been given to my best friend, so you know. But thank you so much. I hope you've had a wonderful day so far. There's so many amazing things that have been on Adobe Live recently. So I hope if you're not already subscribed, please be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with more streams. You can also download some things, which is actually related to our stream today. Your intro animation is everything. Thank you, Val. I thought, let me try to make it related to what this is, which is a perfect segue. For those that are here for the first time, my name's Pixipu and I do a series called Animating 101. This is season 2, episode 3, where we're going through different bits and bobs, animation foundational things that you should know, but how they correlate in After Effects, because that's what we're using. So, Parker said, yes, check that intro out. Oh, Yazin said, I like the way you do this. Really cool. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we've got a couple of what's for those that have been here before. You know, we have 2 what's. This class is about squash and stretch. So, what is stretch? Well, stretch can indicate the speed, weight, mass, and momentum via the shape getting longer or shorter. So, if we take this ball, for example, if we were to drop it without any stretch, could be a bowling ball, something that doesn't change size, feels kind of weighty. But if we do it again and actually add stretch this time, now it's changed its speed, it's probably changed its mass as well. It can't possibly be a bowling ball this time because it's actually got a little bit of wibble to it, a little bit of wibble wobble. So already this has changed our animation and given it a little bit more dynamicism. That's the word. Oh, Frosty said, thank goodness this is an AE class and not a gym class. I mean, we could do gym mini games. But stretch works best in conjunction with squash. So, what is squash? Not the food kind. Squash can also indicate speed, weight, mass, and momentum via the shape getting, this time, wider or narrower. So if we take the ball we had before and we use the initial stretch that we had before, we can see that it's bouncing down. If we isolate the shape, we can see that it's literally just getting longer and shorter when it hits the bottom. But if we introduce squash to this by making it go narrower on its way down and wider when it hits the floor, now this ball could be super squashy. Maybe it's got water inside it. It changes pretty much everything about your animation and your file, which is awesome because there's lots of different areas that you can use this. Thank you very much, Wade. For those that want to join along with me, the class files are down below. So what is our class project? Our class project is a bunch of mini games, and they are Be Squishy, Pen Tapper, Bunny Ball, Bee Bounce, and Besi-Base Ball. So this is your chance to take a look in the chat, grab a hold of those files, and get ready. So we're going to go through 5 more mini games. To those in the chat that have already done stuff with me, aka Penny, who has been putting in their work in my Discord, which has been really cool to see you grow, please do your homework. The mini games are fun and you're able to learn that way. You all like fun learning things, right? Right? Bit like wait, Uma, what is happening? What is going on in this chat over here? Let me just peep. Uma, you being a menace again? Okie dokie. I think we're ready for number 1. Be squishy. Be squishy. Be squishy. So the hands are already animated, but it's going to be down to us to animate Miss Besi, being squished. Dribble, 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 dribble. Ba, 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 ba. Penny said, starting from the ground up and trying. No such thing as trying. There is always doing, and you are doing it. You are doing it. And I'm very proud of you. Very proud. Gareth said that. Gareth, no. The mini games are legit. Thanks, Wade. The dog ate my homework. Oliver, considering it's on the computer, that is no excuse. No excuse. I've been squishing for... Devlin! All of you. All of you. Okay, so if you open your file and you've not done the homework or the mini games for episode 1 and episode 2, each file that I give you actually has a folder with all of the minutes. So you've got all of lesson 1's mini games, you've got all of lesson 2's mini games, and lesson 3's. So we've got Be Squishy. If we press the space bar, we'll see the hands just go in and out. So that is our timing. We spoke about timing and spacing in the last episode. So each of these classes link on from the last one. So make sure you go through, because every single time it's going to add more and more basics together, which is where it starts to look very interesting. Stretched and squishy after Christmas. Oliver, please! What's happening? So we need to make Miss Bezier move to this. Now this is all scale. Once you open your file, your scale should be the thing that's opened automatically. If it's not, what letter does S start with? Wait, what letter does scale start with? That's right, S. Not me giving you the answer. So you press S on the keyboard and it will show scale. Hi, Monica. So we've got our scale. I've also separated your stretch and your don't worry about it, Annika. That's right, Oliver. A star. Wait, 5 star, A plus. Words are hard today. S starts and ends with S. Wait, please. So your scale should automatically be separated. If it's not, and you're not sure what I mean, right next to the numbers, there's a little link next to it. When the link is on, it means that both of these, which is the X, which goes left and right, and the Y, which goes up and down, will be connected. That's not what we want. This one's all about squishing. So we separate the two by clicking that link. Thanks, teacher. My pleasure. We're all classroom troublemakers. I know. Sit down. All of you. Sit down. Stop throwing that paper. The paper. Ah, Frosty said, Pixie's a ray of sunshine. I'm really loving her fun style and it helps you learn AE. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okie dokie. So now this means we can move the X on its own. And if we drag the other one, we can move the Y on its own. But you only have to move the X for this one. So let's stick our keyframe down by turning on the stopwatch. And we're going to move the indicator to see. Okay, we're looking for the key pose. Keyframe is just the key pose of each major moment. So this is when Miss Bezier is at her smallest. So let me pull in the width and we could go back and take a look. Now, if we were to just press play here, we can see that the hands kind of reach the point before Miss Bezier gets there. So you know how I love going into the graph editor. We're going to dive into that after. We'll tweak this in a bit. It's always best to have your key moments down and then go in and play about. So let's see when it comes back out. The hands are open. We can copy our first keyframe. So we're going to click and drag over our first keyframe. Hold down Control and C, that's copy. Hold down Control and press V to paste. So this way it's going to go back to the same size that we wanted. And we'll find the next major point, which seems to be here. Of course, if you want a faster way to make sure that your points are in the right spot, you can totally unlock the things I've locked, which are the hands. Press U to see everything. And you'll be able to see where certain timed moments are. But there is no wrong way. As long as you get the same result, or the answer is just about right, you're good. Devlin said, I don't know how those got stuck in the ceiling. Look, you better pull them pencils down. Pull them pencils down. Don't want to know what might be stuck under your desk. You better take out all that bubblegum. Hi, Alessandra. Yes, it is. Thank you. We're making things squishy. So I didn't copy this one. I could have, but I chose not to. So you can either choose to have the exact same distance and depth, or you could just choose to make it different all the way through. If you make it exactly the same, it's going to look like a robot did it. And humans seem to be able to tell uncanny valley situations. So you can totally make it not exactly the same if you want a bit more of a natural feel. And then the hands go open. I'm just going to stretch it manually. They go shut again. And the last one, they're open. The hands finish their open right here. So let's make sure the first frame and the last frame are the same. Whenever you're trying to make something loop, the last frame and the first frame have to be the same. Otherwise, it's going to look like it's jumped position and everybody can see where your loop is. So now, if we were to press the space button, we can see Miss Bezier moving, but she's not really looking like she's being affected by the hands per se. So we can fix this. We can absolutely fix this. What we're going to do is make sure we've got scale selected. Click on our graph editor. Now, what are we seeing here? We're seeing the right hand and the left hand. It's probably really useful that you're seeing this. So at the moment, the graph editor is showing us other graphs, which isn't really what we need. We only want to see the one. So if we unlock the right hand and the left hand, press U to open them both. And right next to the stopwatch is the stocks, is that graph line. If we turn them off, it stops them from being seen while we're doing other work. So that's really helpful. Sometimes you might want to see the other graphs. If you do, just turn it back on. If you don't want to see the other graphs, turn it off. You will come to a point where you do need to see them both, but not right now. So for those that have done the class before, you know that we like to mess with the tangents. Penny, do you remember? How do we make a movement slower and how do we make a movement faster? While I wait for Penny's answer, we are going to select our first keyframe and we're going to click this icon right here. It says easy ease out. I'm still going to say break tangent. So we're going to click this icon right here, which allows us to move it independently. If we hadn't, one, we're not actually able to move it. It doesn't give us a handle at all. Or if we picked this other one and we tried to move it, it might move more than we want it to move. So always try to pick the direction we'd like to go. Penny said, short line equals fast. RB said, short line equals fast lane. That's right. That's right. So if we wanted this movement to be faster and we make this shorter, it means she gets faster. But if we want it to take longer, we'll make the line longer. Hi, Drebin, we're making portals. Not quite, we're squishing. So if I press play now, it looks like around here, I need Miss Bezier to already be affected by it. The reason why she's not is because there's a slow incline to the position that we're going to. So what I'm going to do is click and drag on this one right here, break the tangent in the opposite direction, and we're going to pull this line to the left. The longer this is, it means the longer this position is, the longer the keyframe is that we're going to. But in regards to this other one, it's going to make our first keyframe shorter. So let me give you an example. By me pulling this all the way out to the left, this line has become shorter, which means this half moves fast and this half will move slow. There we go. So now when we squish, it kind of squishes fast and then we get a nice slow compression. Let's take another look. There we go. Let's say I sort of want her to react there a little bit more. So we'll stop the reaction from happening by clicking and dragging our anchor and making it take a little bit longer for her to change size. Now it might be too long. So keep fiddling with the tangent bar until you get the one you like. Sadly, the green line, which is Y, the red line, which is X, they're on top of each other and there is nothing you can do to separate them as far as I've seen. So if somebody knows, let me know. I think we could definitely make that happen a little bit sooner. And all I did was move the line by holding shift, if you want it to be stuck in the same area, holding shift and just dragging them to the left or to the right. So now, ooh, so Miss Bezier changes size just before the hands move. So how are we going to stop this from moving? That's right. We're going to select that frame that we did before. We're going to break the tangent in the other direction. And we need her to stay in this way for longer. How can we do it? By making the line long. So let's make the line longer. That means she'll stay like this for longer. But maybe that's a bit too long. So let's click and drag in the other direction till it sort of matches. Let's try again. I think I'm going to get the other frame involved. So I'm going to select the next keyframe, break the tangent in the opposite direction. Naturally, it's given me a little bit of a soft movement, and I kind of like this one. If we slowly drag, ooh, looks like she's moving a little bit too fast. Now, there are some things to be aware of. While we're animating, there's a lot of tricks that we can do. We're being magicians. So you don't really have to do things exactly on time. If the eye thinks something else is happening, leave it at that. Because it's not going to really be able to read all those nitty-gritty frames that we're changing. Okay, she's going in too soon. That means this is too fast. How do we make it slower? Select the keyframe, click the right-hand side and make it longer. Let's check that again. She's still moving in. So I'm just going to pull this up to encourage her to stay where she is. And she's still going in a bit too soon. So I'm going to break the tangent on this side. And I'm even going to pull it up to help keep it straighter. It's magic. Ah, I need confetti. There we go. And she needs to react to it here. So let's try to help. Oop. Is my stream okay? Goodness, I definitely should have restarted the internet today, I think. Hopefully you didn't miss too much there. I just noticed my stream did. Why did they fusion dance? They fusion danced the green and the red fusion dance. We don't really have a choice about it, unfortunately. But that's number one. Not bad, pretty easy. We've pretty much done this before, but we've never touched the scale before. Only dropped momentarily. Okay, cool. So let's speed along. Number two. Pen tapper. So we've got a pen and our pen has a squidgy top. So every time we push the pen moves. It's down to us to help the pen be squishy when the pen gets tapped. So if you're done with your first exercise, open exercise number 2. If you press play, you'll notice that I've already done the animation for the hand. That's your timing. The thumb lets you know when the squish is supposed to happen. So this is slightly opposite of what we did before. Instead of it being the squash, we're doing the stretch. Okay, so your pen head move should automatically be on. I've also moved the anchor for you. Thank you, Wade. If you'd like to join in and you've just joined the stream, check down below. Wade has got the content files for you. Alrighty, so we're going to do our keyframe on the scale. And we're going to wait till we get to a major moment, maybe at the start of it. And this time, instead of the widener, instead of X, we're going to press Y. Let's try to make it smaller. And if you like, you can totally mix X as well. The only reason why I'm only making you do one is so you're used to the feel of it. After this, we're going to be doing some mini games that involve you using both. And the position. I did say it's going to get a little bit harder as we go along. All right, so if we press play, goes down. By this point, it should be back up again. So let's paste our up. We've got our down, we've got our up. We've got our down. I've made sure that the thumb taps at different times, so you have to get used to doing different timings. Games, I like games. Whee! You come to the right place, Oliver. The right place. Drebin, no. Drebin says, Stream, are you okay? Are you okay, Stream? Please. Good thoughts and wishes. And the thumb's back up here, so let's paste the up thumb. We've got the down. Let's paste the down. We've got the up. Let's paste the up. We've got the down again. Let's paste the down. That's a long down. I'm going to hold Alt and roll out because it seems like this loop is much longer than I thought. We're going to zoom out. And it seems like around here, it's supposed to be up again. So let's paste our first keyframe. Now we can totally choose to leave this bit blank and just use the graph editor to make it stay where it should. Or we could grab this keyframe here, copy and paste it again. Or for those that did Animating 101 episode 1 and 2, you can use the hold feature, which means you would select, of which you cannot see it right now. Is it on my bottom screen? Oh, I can't see it. Has it changed? I know my After Effects updated. You know, my After Effects updated. I don't know where it is. We're going to do it my way. So we're going to copy the last keyframe and paste it. That means nothing's going to happen in between. Okay, let's take a look through. Let's play it through. We can see it's reacting before the hand touches it, or before the thumb touches it. So how do we tweak the intricacies? Toggle hold. It's there? Oh, it's up. My bad. All right. So if you want to use the toggle hold, that is simply right-clicking your last frame, select toggle hold, copy your last frame, paste, and hold Control and click. So it will stay still between here, but as soon as this last frame is done, or this last keyframe is done, then it will move up. So it kind of gives you like a hold frame. Yeah, me too, Penny. I don't know. You know how when you think you can't see something, so you can't? It's definitely one of those moments. All right, so we want to tweak this a little bit more in depth. How do we do that? Wait, are we Dora the Explorer? How do you do that? That's right. The graph editor. So let's select the graph editor. And it looks like I've left on that thing again. So this is related to the hand driver. So let's go down to the hand driver and press U and turn off that feature. That way we can only see the one that we're working on. Yes, all the time. Can't find something during the stream. Why is it like that, Uma? Why? Why? Welcome, Courtney. Okay, so because the lines are straight, it's moving in a linear, fast fashion. I want this to stay up until the thumb sort of touches it. So let's select this one, and we need to break that tangent once more. I'm going to break the bottom one as well, just to give me more control. And we're going to drag this out. That's absolutely the X that I'm touching, which I don't want to. I'm just going to drag it out a little bit more. Tell him it's human nature. Drebin, what are you talking about? And we need it to stay more. So I'm going to grab my bottom one and drag it up. By doing this, it gives more line. It makes the line longer. Let me zoom in a bit more. From the keyframe we're just coming from. It does make this side shorter, but that's not too bad. So I'm going to pull it all the way up. I really, not the X one. I really want my Y to have more. Hold on. My Y is a little bit in a funky place. Just trying to find it. I can't find it. This is the only thing you might come across while you're doing this. The Y and the X are slap bang on top of each other. So it's a little bit weird. if you choose a specific place to move the axis line, so I've grabbed the x-axis, I've dragged it all the way back, so hopefully I shouldn't accidentally touch it. Okay, here we go. So now I've got the one I want. And I'm also going to drag it up. Not you. Not you. It doesn't want me to grab this one today. I'm going to drag it up. How about that? So now it's going to stay up. I'm even going to push this further to encourage it to stay up. And so now, because the line to the next keyframe is so short, because we've had to push it all the way up to be like a bend in a knee, it looks like it's going to happen immediately as soon as the button push happens. So now if we press play, it's up, and then we get a squish. We can even be a little bit more dramatic with this if we'd like. And then we need to do the same with this. We need it to stay down longer. How do we do that? Select the lower keyframe. You asked why? I mean, Drebin. Honestly, truth. Wait, don't encourage. So we select the bottom one. We need it to be longer. We break the tangent. Break the tangent to the top one as well. Give us more control. And drag this out to the right. Make that line as long as you can if you want it to take longer. Not the x-axis. It always wants to be involved. No one wants it to be involved. There we go. Not right now, at least. Although I will show you something cool that you can do after this. So if we press play, we've got a squish. Stays down, but it stays down a little bit too long. So let's change that. I think we need it to start coming back up around here. So let's take a look. There we go. Same to the other side. Already we know that we need to change the speed of it doing its thing. So it goes down too soon. How do we fix it? Make the line longer. Can even pull it up. Do be wary that if you do pull it up, it means it's going to change height, which is very useful for follow through, which is what the last Animating 101 Season 2 class is going to be about. But I'm using it to make sure that I can have it stay up a bit longer for now. Comes down a bit too soon. Let me pull this up. Not bad. How do we fix it, Penny? That's right. How do we fix it, Penny? And then we've got this half. We need it to stay down longer. Excuse me, RB. I do believe that you're also an A+ student. I remember seeing your answer in the chat. How do we make things take longer? RB. Okie doke. Let's break this tangent. RB will tell us how we make things take longer. Look at Penny giving RB a hand. That's right, Penny. A long line. Long line means takes a longer. Penny's put on the spot again. Penny's that student at the front of the class. Penny's the one that sits next to the teacher. Ooh, I kind of like that. Yeah. Oh, it goes down too soon. We know how to fix it. Penny, you know that you're the kid at the start of the class. Oh my gosh, that reminds me. My father reminded me the other day. I had a favorite teacher. I had a favorite teacher when I was in primary school. And she had a chair and we would all sit by her. But I would sit by her chair and she would pat me on the head. It was really nice. It was really nice. I don't know. It's one of those you think back to your childhood and you're like, there we go. Don't worry, I haven't moved on. I saw the thingy. Next time I'm absolutely going to make sure I restart the internet before I come back. Don't worry, I didn't move. I saw the line. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Chill. So, we need it to stay up longer. We've done this before. It is literally rinse and repeat. You'll notice that most of animation is repeating pretty much what you've already done, just in lots of places. And if you wanted, once you've done it right the first time, you could have just copied and pasted it when it was already tweaked. But I'm making you do it the tedious way because it's good for you to know how to do it basically, and then you can cheat. Because if you always cheat and you don't know how to do it manually, you're going to run into some trouble. Okay, so we got that. I want it to stay up for a bit longer. I don't really mind when that one comes up, I don't think. But I do want this one to stay down longer. Oh goodness, that's one of the things that I've noticed a lot, Uma. Like, this is mainly why while we're doing these classes, you're not going to see me use any plugins. Everything that the plugin can do is what we can do on our own. And maybe you're in a position where either you can't afford the plugin, or maybe you can't download the plugin, or for whatever reason, you've used the plugin before, now it's gone. If you know how to do it on your own, it won't be a problem. Practice, practice, yeah. Okay. Oops. Now, you might find if you only break one half of a tangent and not the other half might be a little bit finicky. So we have to break the other half and just turn it back to how we had it before. S'mores? Wait, should we do something s'more related? I don't know if the small thing would actually work, but I'd love it to. We need this to be longer. That's the red line. The red line is always the one that you end up touching first, I've noticed. Up, and then it goes down. We've got it to stay down. This comes up. Not too bad, but we can make it delay a little bit. So let's make it just a tiny bit longer. Not bad. So now if we loop this, I don't know why this is on third. We can handle full. There we go. Now we've got a squishy pen tap. Ta-da! Not bad. Any questions? Although most of this, now that we've gone through the basics of pretty much all the other stuff in the other classes, I think you're used to seeing this by now. It's just scale this time, whereas we were only really using position before. So, are you ready for number 3? Number 3? Number 3. Number 3 is bunny ball. We've got a ball that looks like a bunny. We need to make the bunny ball bounce with the movement. So, if you press, or if you head to minigame number 3, if you're following along with the stream or with the VOD, if we press the space bar, you'll see that the hand, the bunny ears, and also the clothing of the person holding the bunny ball is also moving. And the movement of the clothing is what we'll be learning in 2 weeks' time. Funny bunny, get some bonbons. It's all connected. But we need the ball to react to the movement. So whenever you're animating, until you get enough references though, even if you have loads of references via real life and all that jazz, it's always good to look at something in real life. I don't have anything per se that I can show you. So, oh yes I do. Okay, it's slightly different, but it's going to do the same thing. We're just going to add the squash and stretch in our mind. So when we drop something, if we're going to animate it dramatically, when things are on their way down, they get thinner. And then they might get wider based on the impact of the ground. On the way back up, they get thinner again. And then when they're up, they take up room. So it'll be small, wide, small, wide. And if we do that on a repeated motion, it looks like it's squashing and stretching like a ball reacting to the movement. So we're pretty much making our movement react, or our shape react to the movement that's happening to it. So let's go to our bunny ball. We're actually going to do the scale X and the scale Y this time. You've done the X, you've done the Y, now you're going to do them together. So first, let's stick a keyframe down. Let's scroll along. Clearly the bunny's going up, so this should be a situation. And the bunny gets bigger here. So I'm going to pop a keyframe down. Technically, I could have changed the shape, but apparently that's not how this one is going this time. We need a flatter shape down there. So I'm just going to go back to the front and let's go to the middle and let's pull the bunny in a little bit. But not only squish, when things squish, they also stretch. The squash and the stretch happens at the same time. So if you're making it narrower, it has to stretch a bit. And if it gets wider, it has to squash a bit. So I've made it narrower. Let's stretch it a little bit. Already, we've only done 2 things. Already, it looks like it's being dragged up. The longer you make it, the more drag it looks like it's got. But I think I'm all right with this one. And then the bunny goes up to the top. You could totally leave it like this, but I might make it wider. We'll see. And if we make it wider, we have to make it shorter. It's always at the same time. They can't be separated. I know we did it earlier, but that was just to teach you. If you want to go back to the earlier mini games and actually do the stretch along with your squash, or the squash along with your stretch, please do. There we go. So now we've added in a squash. Nope, we've added in a stretch with the narrowing. And we've added in a squash at the top. Wade said, try and think of it filling the same volume during squash and stretch. That's right. The closer to the same volume that it is, the better it feels and the better that it looks. Although you can absolutely go wild with it. Probably the more wild, the more cartoony it will feel. And then this is going back down. But when things tend to fall down, unless it's of its own volition, if you've not tried this before, maybe fill up a water balloon. When you fill up a bottle, not a bottle, when you fill up a balloon of water and you bounce it, you'll notice that when you pull it up, it gets smaller or it changes mass, getting a bit skinnier like this bunny. But when you force it down, it reacts to the force of your hand and it gets wider. So that's what we're going to do. So we are going to make this bunny wider, and because we made it wider, has to also squash a bit. There we go. The only reason why I know this off by heart is because I've animated a few things and I've seen a few things in real life. You're always using real life examples. Wade said, for sure you can go out of control if needed. Breaking logic is all part of the fun. It's true. What do they say? You can only break the rules once you know what they are. If you don't even know what the rules are, how can you break them? How can you break them? And then there's the bunny. We need the bunny going narrow for going up. We've already done that once, so I'm just going to copy it here. And then we're going to copy the reacting to the top. Could probably make that a little bit wider, I feel. And then going down, let's pull the bunny up a little bit more, a little bit wider. I'm going to hold Alt and roll back on my mouse. And it looks like the bunny has to go straight back up here. So let's copy and paste the position that the bunny's in when it goes up. Ah, is it coming together? Good. Let's copy and paste the squashed at the top. Let's make our own movement for it getting pushed down. And make sure we paste our first frame. We might have to tweak this one to make sure that the loop is nice. But if we look, without us actually doing any tweaking in the graph editor, looks pretty good. It looks pretty good already and we've barely done much. But we absolutely are. We can't just leave it at the keyframe stage. We've got to do more. Got to do more. So let's click the graph. And thankfully this time we only see the scale that we're working on. So we are going to work on both of them. That seems okay to me. That also seems okay. This one sort of needs to react to being pushed up a little bit more, I think. So what I might do is grab this keyframe and drag it. You might find that you have a preference for where you animate mainly. Sometimes I do tweak stuff in the graph editor, or maybe it makes more sense for you in the other direction. Gonna see what these two are doing. Not much, so we can get rid of this. That goes up. We need a more major squish. Let's make this more major. Yeah, looking nice. Thank you, Wade. Alessandra said, looks nice, Pixie. Thank you. All right, we're going to do something dramatic with the graph that we'd seen before, but this time it's intentional. We're going to edit the tangent. So let me grab this one. Let me grab the other. And we've got our indicator in the middle. If we drag this up, you'll see that the bunny gets wider. That's exactly what we're going to do. But the other side was affected because we also need to break those tangents too. They don't want to be left out. So I'm just going to pull these all the way in to make it seem straight again, because I really like that. And I want it to overshoot its position. So to overshoot its position, all you have to do is drag the line above wherever that yellow box is. Or if you want it to overshoot in the other direction, just drag it below. All right, so we're pulling this all the way up. And if we make it squash, you also have to make it shorter. So let's try to mirror the green arrow in the exact same direction. There we go. Now you've got a nice... So technically, by us pulling up this graph here, it's kind of added in an extra keyframe. This is one of the perks of using the computer, is it's interpolated our movement for us. If we were doing this hand by hand, we would have to manually put that position in there. So you can make that as dramatic or as undramatic as you like. That is nice. I think we can make that hang a little bit more. As you go through, you'll notice that you like the feeling of things or not so much. That's just something you get as you go along. So take a look at real world examples, maybe try to do something that you've seen in real life, take a reference video of you doing something and then animate it. And as you go along and you're looking at something, you might be like, ooh, feels like I could add more to this, or feels like this should be slower. Even if you try it and you find out, no, actually it was fine before, allowing yourself to tweak and play around with it is very good. RB said, no bunny was hurt in this process. No, it's a ball, I promise you. Not we. Should we draw like a little Uma on top of the bunny ball? Like a little Katamari Damacy. Let me pull this in, because I did like how fast this went. I want it to stay longer. There we go. Yeah. Kind of makes it hit a little bit more dramatic. Although I think I want it a little bit soft at some point. So I'm actually going to add break tangent there, because this means it's going to soften, aka slow down the animation before it reaches the next keyframe. Now I know I tend to repeat a lot of what I'm saying, but this is because we learn via repetition. So when you're doing your thing and you're trying to work out how do I make this faster, you'll remember short line fast, long line slow. So cute, give me fuzzy feels. That's what we like to hear. This was pretty quick, wasn't it? Okay. I think we could totally move this over a little bit. If we're not going to move the composition, I've just grabbed... Oh, it's behind my head. Hold on. Can I get any closer? There we go. I've grabbed the last keyframe. I'm going to do it on this one because you can see this one. I grab the last keyframe by clicking and dragging. And then I hold shift and drag to the right. Because there's a little bit of a pop. Because before the loop ends, you still kind of see a bit of the other animation. So I need them to come over a little bit. To help with that loop a tad bit more. There we go. So now, when we press play, we've got a loop using the squash and the stretch. You can absolutely change the timing of your speed down or your slow up. All that's all good. But I think we're ready for number 4. Alessandra said having some chamomile tea. Oh my gosh. While watching this for best break activity. Oh my gosh, yes. Tibian said nice. Thank you. This is the bee bounce. So Miss Bezier is lovingly being our testing ball for this one. All we have to do is bounce her a little bit. Now, if you press play, you'll notice that I've actually already moved the animation for you. I'm also going to drag this indicator bar in a little bit, the work area end. Sometimes when you're making a loop animation, the actual end of the loop isn't the best part for the loop. So if it feels a little bit choppy, pull the end in. Leave the keyframes where they are, but pull the work end area in. So now if we press play, it looks a little bit smoother than what I had before. Okay, so the position's already done for you. This one's actually scale in the X and the Y, because when you squash, you also stretch. Well, I was going to say there is the opposite, but it's the same. When you squash, you stretch. They happen at the same time. So Miss Besier's here. Let's put a keyframe here. She'd probably stretch towards this. If you've ever tapped a ball before, you'll know what's supposed to happen. It kind of comes back up once it reacts to the floor. And then when you push it down, it might squash, depending on how soft the ball is. It will hit the floor. It's going to squash more, depending on how soft the ball is. And then it will stretch to come back up to reach the hand. What kind of muffin? That's a good question. So let me add a little stretch in here. And when the hit comes, which is here where the hand interacts with the ball, Miss Besier's loving head, we're going to squish her. Already, we've already got that emotion. We've already got that motion going. And we barely done anything. And she gets pushed down more. So we can squeeze her down more, make her wider at the end. And then she's got to stretch to come back up. Now, as you're going, it's not too bad if you end up doing something really dramatic first in case of the size, because you can always bring it back. Wait, hold on. Squash is a horizontal stretch and stretch is a vertical squash. Yeah. And likewise, we know to make her wider at the top, or whenever she gets touched by the hand. I'm watching the time. So you kind of want the reaction of the ball to join in with whatever's happening to it. And then back up to the stretch. And then eventually the end keyframe. So you're definitely going to go in and tweak the graph editor, but by watching the time, I'm going to show you number 5. That way you can see pretty much what you're supposed to do for all of them, but you'll have an idea for where you're supposed to go. You've got this. You can do this. Devlin said, so if the item breaks instead, you need different graphic assets for the pieces? Yes. We can actually talk about breaking items in another, maybe in season 3, if we have a season 3 of Animating 101. That sounds like a great idea. I'm just going to add that to here. That'll be a part of the morphing items. There we go. Just making sure that we have that idea down. That's a great idea, Devlin. Thank you. So yes, let's say if we were going to plop Miss Bezier down and then when she hits the floor, she breaks. You would have a asset for the one that gets thrown. You would have an asset already in the place of where the other one breaks. And maybe it's got more pieces to it so you can have them roll out. I'm good at breaking things. Okay, so the next hand has to be Gareth's hand. But you get the gist for B bounce. Hold on, what's this? Yeah, it's B bounce. Number 5. Your 5th mini game is Besi-Base Ball. So in this one, I've given you a little bit more to do. You have to use your knowledge of position and your knowledge of scale, the thing that we were just doing recently. So to show you briefly, we do have the bow mid open, but you don't need that. I've got a move me, which is for your position only, and a move me for your scale only. This is because where I've placed the anchor, it will deform the shape differently. So normally you'll have somebody that will make a null for each position. That way we could scale it in lots of different places, but that's not what we've got for this one. So if we're doing the position only, we do X because that goes left and right. Thank you, Wade. Yes, the time is almost up. It absolutely is. But I thought I'd show you a little bit. But the fifth one's more for you lot to do on your own. So you have your knowledge of how to make things wait and take a slower time. Maybe it's already in the other hand. And then you'd have the ball wait and then be chucked over. You'd have the ball wait again and then back to the other side. But along with that, just like we did before, you'll use your scale to react to the ball being thrown. Remember, when the ball is being chucked, it will go smaller to react to the speed. You've got this. You can do this. I have faith in you. Thank you so much for being here, you lot. Your outro is this. The conclusion. Your homework is to complete the mini game homework, use squash and stretch on the previous mini games because they're all inside the file that Wade dropped below, and try spacing on one of your projects of your own that also is supposed to say squash and stretch. You got this. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much. And at me on everything at Pixipu. Don't forget to at Adobe Live, hashtag Adobe Live. See you lot later. Bye.